Doctor Who Journeys ends the 13th episode of Series 4. It's written by Russell T Davies and starring David Tennant, Catherine Tate, Fema Agyeman, John Barrowman, Elizabeth Sladen and Billie Piper. This episode is also starring Noel Clarke, Camille Kajuri, Adjo Ando, Eve Miles, Gareth David Lloyd, Tommy Knight, Alexander Armstrong and John Leeson. We're in the end game now. So yeah, there's 3 deleted scenes as there's a reason why they've been cut. First we see the Doctor gave Metacris's Doctor a small piece of coral from the TARDIS so that he could grow his own TARDIS, but they felt that Bad Wolf Bay would be too long and complicated. Secondly, there's Donna on the phone after when she said goodbye to the Doctor as she doesn't remember him. There's a scene where she looks and hears the sound of the TARDIS dematerialising, but Donna remembering would lead to her death, and since she didn't recognise the Doctor, it wouldn't make sense to assume she would recognise the noise of the TARDIS. There's also a final scene where the Doctor looked at the scanner as it's alerted something and 2 Cybermen appeared right behind him, which lead to the next Doctor, which I admit it would be scary, but I prefer the ending the way it is, as Russell T Davies felt that a cliffhanger was not appropriate after such a sad ending. So the Doctor puts his regeneration effect into his hand in the jar, and still, the 10th Doctor, when I first watched it, I was like, oh, thank God for that! So Ianto and Gwen stopped firing and realised the time lock that Tosh worked on. The Dalek is locked out and Gwen and Ianto are locked in. As the Daleks are about to exterminate Sarah Jane Smith, luckily Mickey Smith and Jackie Tyler appeared and destroyed both of them. I was like, yes! I didn't expect to see them again, but I'm glad they came back, as Sarah Jane, Jackie and Mickey witnesses the Daleks stealing the TARDIS. Sarah Jane went to the Daleks saying she surrendered, so did Jack and Mickey. Martha decides to leave and arrive at Germany and met a German woman. She knows about the Osterhagen key and points a gun at her, as she was scared, so then lowering it down and let Martha continue her mission. So the Doctor, Rose, Donna and Captain Jack arrived on Dalek Crucible, but the TARDIS door closed and locks Donna in, and it fell down into the fire. It's a really sad scene when the Doctor watches the TARDIS getting destroyed. At least the hand and jar glass break and the hand grew another Doctor. I find it funny when Donna was like, it's you. You're naked. So Jack shoots at the Supreme Dalek but exterminates him, but he uses immortality to allow him to escape. We get a funny moment with Duplicate Doctor and Donna bantering on in the TARDIS. Russell T Davies said this is so busy and so mental and so epic and universal in scale that of course you need 2 Doctors to solve it, and they've got Colin Regan playing the Duplicate Doctor, who's great resemblance to David Tennant. I love the bit when the Doctor assumes Davros that he's Dalek's pet. So meanwhile, there's people including Sarah Jane, Mickey and Jackie in the corridor. A woman fell over while Jackie supported her. Mickey and Sarah Jane hid. While the Dalek's activating the Crucible, Jackie uses a teleport to take herself to the hiding place. Both Doctors were horrified as they know how the reality bomb works. Captain Jack came to Jackie, Mickey and Sarah Jane, and we get great lines like, Mickey Mouse, you can talk Captain Cheesecake, that's beefcake and that's enough hugging. Sarah Jane gave Jack a warp star that was given by Varen Soothsayer, as he said it's for the end of days. He also gave her the puzzle box in Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane, as she mentioned. Samantha broadcasts on Crucible and tells the Doctor that Osterhagen key to detonate 25 nuclear warheads in strategic locations under the Earth's crust to destroy the planet and disable the reality bomb. And of course the Doctor was horrified, so Jack and the others contacted Davros and threatened to use a warp star. And we have an awesome moment where Davros recognised Sarah Jane back in the events of Genesis of the Daleks. Rose told the Doctor it was Harriet Jones who gave her life to get the Doctor to Earth. Davros asked him how many died for him. We get flashbacks of characters like Jenny, River Song and Astrid Peth, Controller and others. So the Daleks transported the rest of our heroes to Crucible, so the Duplicate Doctor arrived trying to use that weapon, but Davros stabbed him and same thing happened to Donna. Which, by the way, Davros having metal hand because in Revelation of the Daleks, his hand got shot off. So the reality bomb is counting down, but then nothing happens as Donna is using controls. She stopped Davros from electrocuting her, disabled Dalek's gun and spun them around. It turns out that Dalek Khan betrayed the Daleks by getting Donna in the right place at the right time. So all the planets except Earth are back in their place, and because the duplicate Doctor exploded all the Daleks, everyone has to leave. The Doctor tried to save Davros again, but he refuses and calls him the Destroyer of Worlds. So after the TARDIS leaves, the Doctor contacts Gwen and Yanto for the energy of the rift as a rope and the TARDIS as a tow truck to move the Earth back to where it belongs, and help from Luke, Mr. Smith and K9. Man, they should bring K9 back. Oh yeah, the Doctor and Rose seems to recognise the resemblance of Gwen from Gwyneth back in The Unquiet Dead, when he mentions the old Cardiff family. We get a nice music where everyone in the TARDIS moved the Earth back to where it belongs, and everyone cheers. I love this moment, and to be honest, they are my favourite Doctor Who gang, as I see that as the Doctor's family. If he needs people to talk to and support, you can always come to them. So the Doctor drops Sarah Jane, Mickey, Captain Jack and Martha off at Earth. Rose, duplicate Doctor and Jackie off at Parallel Earth. It's a nice ending for Rose when there's David Tennant's version of the Doctor who's human and gets to marry Rose and have a child. Because Donna is human with a Time Lord's DNA, she'll die as her head burns. This is a really sad scene. You can actually feel it, as she's been wanting to stay travelling with the Doctor forever. But the Doctor has to wipe her mind and get her home. She tells Wilfred and Sylvia what happened and let them know she shouldn't remember the Doctor and the time with him, otherwise she dies. Just after the Doctor says Donna is the most important woman in the universe, tell her that once in a while, we get a funny moment when Donna was like, I was asleep on my bed in my clothes like a flipping kid. So the Doctor pretends to be someone called John Smith so he can get himself out without Donna remembering him. The Doctor tells Wilfred that his friends are with someone else and he's fine with that, and Wilfred promised he will look out for the Doctor, which is nice. So the Doctor went back to the TARDIS taking his jacket off as it's drenched with rain, and again he looks sad and lonely. So that's Journey's End. I'd say this is the best Series 4 episode, my top 3 favourite series finales, because you have everything in there. I freaking love Series 4. Definitely my top 3 favourite New Who series. What do you guys think of Journey's End? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.